I'm going to show you how to make a rib of sucking veal from the Limousin area with its simmered vegetable stew. A very traditional and earthy dish. So here's our rib of veal, and you can ask your butcher to cut it for you from his side of veal so that you can see it's a really tender piece of veal, nice and clear like that. It needs to be very lightly coloured. So for a sucking veal rib, the colour here has to be as close to milkiness as possible and very, very tender like that. So ask him to cut you a piece weighing about 500 grams untrimmed, because it'll weigh about 400 grams once you've trimmed it. And now for the vegetable stew, we'll be using some celery branch, some leeks, onions, tomatoes, courgettes, long turnips, carrots, and as many vegetables as you can find on the market. Some Mosin oil and some Tuscany oil. And there you are. Now today, to have a very nicely presented rib, we're going to trim it, and that's how we'll cook it. And when you do a veal rib, you need to recover all the trimmings, and you take some of the bone, and with all of this you make a nice little veal stock like this. And you cut up your herbs, you make a bouquet, and the rest of the herbs we'll chop up for the sauce later. So now we're going to brown our rib, a touch of salt. I'll put this rib to one side, a twist of pepper, like so, some coarse sea salt from Guérande, which is very important here. We'll use some coarse sea salt, and we press quite hard to help the grains of salt penetrate into the meat a little. That way they'll melt into the flesh, which is as soft as butter. Limousin sucking veal is as soft as butter. And now we let the oil heat up a little. When it starts smoking, you can start browning it on what will be the top side, as with fish. And after cooking each side for about 5 minutes, you can take it off the heat, like so. And you put it to one side. The vegetable stew has also been heated up in Tuscany olive oil, so now I can start dressing my plate with the sauce, the juice from the veal. There I take my plate, and the vegetable stew, which I place here. No point being too fussy over the stew. It's the colors of the different vegetables which are the most important thing for your presentation. Right, the final touch, like so. A little bouquet of herbs. And then the sauce, a little bit here. And we'll keep the rest of the sauce for the sauce boat. Now, don't be afraid to use a cloth because it's very hot. The presentation is very simple, but it's a country dish, and so it needs to remain very earthy. So there's our veal rib. Very simple, but very good.